Hello team players! Welcome to the last build in my Animal Kingdom party. Today we're building a champion. Let's dive in. We want the liberation cause here, because that gives us some damage reduction and more importantly, a ton of mobility options. And we do want lay on hands, so we have a healing option. For our deity, we want to steal Zeus's thunder, but seriously we want Labaiko. It's the only deity that gives us what we want for this build. And there's two reasons for this. First is, it gives us the long spear favored weapon, which deific weapon does apply to, and it also gives us reach, which is important for this build. The other reason is, we get the domain we want, which we'll talk about later in this video. Also, if you read the Edicts and Anathema, it's actually kind of perfect for the Liberation Champion. For our Ancestry, we're going with the Anadi. They're a very helpful Ancestry, and believe it or not, they actually make great champions. And we're going with the Nephilim Heritage because we eventually want to be able to fly in this build. The main idea here is to get ranged allies away from melee enemies and melee allies in flanking positions on the enemy's turn. We can also get allies out of grabs and restraints, so the enemies can't give anybody a prostate exam. For attributes, strength is our most important. We need that for our damage and our armor. We also need charisma for our devotion spells, which I'll talk about later. And we also need wisdom for will saves, perception, and medicine checks. And if you got any points left over, constitution for more hit points. For skills, our dex isn't going to be super high, but we'll need acrobatics for those slight options. We'll also need intimidation for those demoralized checks. And medicine. We need to be able to non-magically heal the barbarian if we need to, because the barbarian is a little pussy when it comes to magic. But we won't use this very much, because the alchemist is going to cover a lot of that. Having wisdom-based recall knowledge skills might also be effective here. So your nature and your religion. For our first level class feat, we're going with Reassuring Presence. Frightened is very common, and reducing it is really good. For our class feat, we're going with Faithful Steed. This will give us a ton more mobility, and it's something else that the enemies have to deal with, besides the party. And don't forget, allies and sometimes enemies have to be within 15 feet of us in order for us to use most of our abilities, which is why that mobility from Faithful Steed is so important. When you're playing a champion, battle position matters a ton. At level 2, we're taking Unimpeded Step. This means when we use Liberating Step, the allies can step even if they're in difficult terrain. It treats all terrain as normal terrain. At level 3, we do want to take Canny Acumen here, because otherwise we won't be getting expert in reflex saves for a while, and we want higher reflex saves. Also at this level, we get Blessings of the Devoted, which we want to pick Blessed Swiftness here. It gives us or our animal companion even more mobility, and it also makes it harder for enemies to hit allies with reactions. It's a very good ability, and it's passive, so you don't even have to activate it, it just happens. At level 4, we're taking Aura of Courage. This can reduce the frightened condition even more. Great with Reassuring Presence. Fantastic combo there. At level 5, we get our Ancestry feat, and we're going with Extraplanar Supplication. We choose Bless or Bane. One or the other. You don't get to choose between the two each day. It's one or the other. You can cast that spell as an innate spell once a day. This one really depends on what you want to do. If you want to make it easier to hit for everybody, take Bless. If you want to make it harder for enemies to hit the party, take Bane. Either one works extremely well with the spells. It's up to you. At level 6, we're going to take Loyal Warhorse. We get a tougher mount, and it never attacks us, even if it's magically compelled to do so. Level 7, you should know by now. Toughness, more hit points. That's always good, right? Level 8 is when we finally talk about that domain we talked about earlier. We want the Lightning domain here for the Charge Javelin spell. It's a devotion spell for us that uses our charisma. We do good lightning damage and persistent lightning damage, and it basically turns the enemy into a giant-sized lightning rod, so the party can hit them easier with lightning abilities and metal weapons. This is really only going to apply to us, the Barbarian, and the Alchemist Bottle Lightnings, if he uses those. But this applies to metal weapons too, which is why the Barbarian can take advantage of this. And we're not casting anything on the Barbarian, so we don't have to worry about him being a pussy when it comes to magic. Level 9 is when we finally get our wings with Divine Wings, and that's just once per day we can fly for a limited time. Pretty simple. At level 10, I've gone with Imposing Destrier. Even tougher of mount now, and it can use one action even if we don't command it. It has to be a stride or strike action, but hey, at least we don't have to spend an action commanding it, right? For free archetype, the first one I can recommend is the Blessed One. That'll just help you with your lay on hands. It'll make that a heck of a lot better. The second archetype I recommend is the Bastion. That'll help you with your defense. Either one works here. Doesn't matter which one you take. Whichever one you feel is more appropriate. And that's the Divine Arachnid done. If you guys enjoyed this video, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe to the channel for more teamwork content, and leave a comment. Or just tear my build apart. I'd love to hear from people. Check out the links in the description below for my Discord, as well as my second channel, TBG Starfinder. And if you want a path builder for this build, or you want to get some of my videos early, you can check out the link in the description for my Patreon page. And for other builds, you can check out these videos here. Thank you guys so much for watching. And remember, teamwork is vital. It helps us solve problems.